Welcome to the Finance Geeks, a podcast about real financial planning. If you're into numbers, strategies, and building a great planning business, this is your ultimate geeky hangout.
Hello and welcome to Season 4, Episode 8 of the Finance Geeks podcast. Thanks for joining us. My name is Warren Shute and I'm joined by...
Paul Cleworth.
That was very smooth there, Paul.
Thanks.
Barry
I'm a smooth guy.
You are a smooth guy.
Yeah, I'm a smooth guy.
Today we're discussing your money map, what money really means to us. It's a really, really interesting topic. But before we dive deep into that interesting topic, Paul, apart from karting, what have you been up to?
So I've one of my neighbours actually moved not so long ago, and she had a load of stuff in a barn, and she put it on the WhatsApp chat saying, "I've got a table tennis table. Does anybody want it?" So I thought it was going to be some amazing one that you could fold down. It's on wheels. It wasn't. It was one that I had to sort of cut. It was covered in bird poo. But basically,
Paul, careful. She might be listening.
She might be listening. But just this weekend, I put it up with my boys, and it's a bit rickety. And I got the net up, got the bats, and I realised we didn't have any. I cleaned it all up, said we didn't have any balls, so I ordered some balls off Amazon. Came yesterday, and I was playing with my youngest Rory, who's 11, and it was quite difficult for me to let him win because I'm quite good at table tennis, and I was teaching him how to do it, and eventually he won, and he was happy, and we had a few smashes. So I've been playing table tennis.
I love table tennis. I have table tennis back, and I love it. It's good fun.
It's good, isn't it? It's good fun just to have a go and just get into the moment. Went to Royal Albert Hall. Oh, that's boring. Again, with 6 clients. Watched The Fellowship of the Ring.
That
Lord
boring,
of the Rings,
not the Royal Albert Hall.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant. Drank loads. In fact, not that much. But I had a good time. Lovely clients. Brilliant film. And obviously the Royal Philharmonic playing. And they had 2 choirs. They had a children's choir and an adult choir. It was brilliant. I have also been creating my mother's autobiography using Story Terrace. I did my dad's 2.5 years ago. And they contact him. They have 10 one-hour Zoom meetings. They write 22,000 words. It's about 120-page A5 book. Put 40 pictures in, and I've nearly finished my mum's. And I'm looking forward to sort of.
That's cool.
I've got 8 copies of it to send to relatives and most of my siblings and so forth. So I've been doing that. I've been submitting the RMAR. Lord!
Very quickly on that one. On the back of you discussing the storybook in the past, we now recommend it to clients. So,
good.
Yeah,
Story Terrace.
Yeah. Well, you might even see it. I shared my agenda with you. You might even see it in there. It's actually in there as one of the points.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's a great memento and a timepiece, and it's got their life story. So it's amazing.
You'll be doing. You're saying you're doing your RMAR.
Yeah, I know you outsource it. I've got to outsource it to my wife or my practice manager because it has been miserable. It's the April one, and you have to, some of the figures, some of the stuff the FCA need to know. It took about 4 hours.
Come on, Alison, pull your finger out. Help Paul out. He's busy.
Yeah.
Too busy playing
and
tennis.
the last thing we had on Friday, our 10th anniversary. Tandem is 10 years old.
Wow.
So we had 90 people go to Phantom's Hall, and we had a big bash, and it cost a lot of money, but it was a roaring success. So just about recovered from that.
What was the success about it? What was so good about it? Because I want to pitch.
Well, people had a great time. The food was good, the entertainment was good. We had a quiz, we had a raffle, we raised £909 for charity for Keach Hospice Care, which was great. I've actually paid about £1,200 to them today because I've grossed it up by 25%. Because of the company saving, so I've sent them all that money, and we've raised tens of thousands now for Keach over the years, which is brilliant. They're a hospice care charity.
That's cool. Cool. What was the quiz on? Was the quiz on Tandem or?
I did 31 questions randomly because the picture round had. Because the picture round had 6 questions, 6 images, and then we did a music round. There was geography, politics.
So it wasn't
history,
linked to Tandem. It was just
nothing to do with finance. Thank God.
Okay.
No. But it was good fun. Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Warren, what have you been up to?
What I've been up to? Playing golf, Paul. Playing golf, yeah.
Of course.
Went to Sunningdale, had a great time with Jeremy Brett and Nick Alston. So big shout out to you guys. Had a fan time. Although I must say on the last day, or my last day, my tummy was feeling a bit dicky, and I was like, just getting around at the end sort of thing. But but we had a good time. Had a really good time. It was a gorgeous place. Absolutely fantastic. Had my wedding anniversary on Monday, so did a bit of fun. Yeah, just went out for breakfast and spent a bit of time chatting and reminiscing about the 22 years we've been married. We've been together 31, but married 22.
Goodness me.
And planning our birthday party. So Lexington's 20
Oh, you're
this
20,
year.
aren't you?
So
Wow.
yeah, we've got a party, I think, on the 19th of June. So just putting some bits together for that. And I'm on a garden design course on Friday. I'm actually Saturday. I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, it's really
Your
weird.
garden's massive. I mean, so which part of it? Just in front of the house, the whole thing?
Just on the side, as you approach the house on the left-hand side, just that bit. I haven't told the gardeners yet, but I kind of want a Japanese garden or an Oriental garden. I've got a strong affinity to the Orient. I grew up doing martial arts and stuff, and I loved the whole thing. So
you've been watching Monty Don. He likes all that sort of stuff as well.
we
Japanese
do. Yeah,
gardens.
I haven't been watching him yet, but we do normally watch it. So
He's brilliant.
So I have my son up. He's got a drone taking pictures and stuff like that, so I can sort of plan it out.
One of my clients actually called Harry Holding. I'll put the link in the show notes. He's doing a whole spectacle for the Chelsea Flower Show, and he's involved in that. He's also got a book out called Eat Your Garden. I'll put the link to that in Amazon as well. I'll try and do him a bit of a favor. Hopefully someone will click on it. I've bought a copy myself. But he does.
What's it like? Was it good?
I haven't received the book yet.
Oh,
It's
okay.
in June. End of this month, I think it is. No, but I'm like yourself. I like watching Alan Titchmarsh and Monty Don and all of that. And
it's great, isn't it? I never used to be, though. I never used to be into gardening or DIY or anything. And I think
I'm still not into gardening. I like mowing the lawn, but Catherine's mum does a bit of landscape and horticulture. My wife Alison, she's got green fingers, so she plants all these various flowers and sweet peas and tulips.
Nice.
They all get eaten. All these tulips that we plant. Literally 5 minutes later, the little, the dog and squirrels and rabbits and muntjacks, so we put curry powder on in the past. We've put nets around the outside. Sometimes things work. Sometimes they all get eaten and you're like, what a waste of time. And then when they come out, the bulbs are out for about a week or so and they all die. And you just think all that effort just for a week.
Look at us getting old before our time.
It's really old. Let's move on quick. So boring, that isn't it?
Okay, so talk to me. Your money map. What money really means to you. What's this topic going to be around?
So I decided it was a good idea to create another presentation for clients of mine.
Of course, you need.
And I got loads of different presentations in my arsenal. I picked them out depending on what position the client's in, what age they are, which ones they've seen before. We've got ones called True Wealth and the Good Life. We've got ones called The Behavior Gap. We've got Time, Health and Money. And I wanted to create a presentation that has questions in for the client to get them thinking about what money means to them, what their relationship is with money and how that was formed over time. So it's questions like, what was money like growing up? And we'll go through some of the questions. But the idea is for me to understand what's helped shape them today and how they make decisions. And then I also want to know, what do they want to spend their money on to get them thinking? And then lastly, the third part of this is, well, what happens when they get old and doddery and then they pass? Where do they want their money to go? What do they want their legacy to be? So I created a presentation, which I can put a link in the show notes too. And other financial planners can give me credit when they look at my good ideas.
And when would you deliver this to your client? Because I'm kind of looking, I basically have 4 types of meetings with a client: discovery, investment presentation, planning meeting, and like a catch-up miscellaneous meeting.
So it's going to be in an annual review meeting.
Okay.
And it depends on what the agenda is. So almost always on the agenda, we'll ask the client, what do you want to focus on? Because they've got something on their mind.
Okay.
Maybe it's they want to top up their pensions or ISAs. Maybe they're buying another property. I mean, it could be anything. Maybe they want to focus on end-of-year tax planning or inheritance tax planning. But if I feel it's appropriate, once we've presented and gone through that core agenda and presented a report to them, their review of where we're up to, how things have done, and are we on track to meet our goals, I want to bring out as part of this, if there's time in the meeting, I'll get permission and say, I've got a new presentation. Would you like to go through it? It's a sort of a personal reflection or to our conversation. It's a guide it's a discussion point to get you thinking about what the money's for. Because a lot of clients of mine and yours, I'm sure, they're saving, they're building their assets, they're building their wealth, and yet sometimes they just forget what's actually important, or they just don't realize what's really important to them, or what they're going to spend this money on, and what the rest of their life is going to look like. And I think having questions that you can ask the client and trigger their imagination, if you can do that and give them a bit of homework as well, it's going to lead to better outcomes for the client.
Yeah, no, definitely. And more enjoyable for you. I wanted to pick up on something you said, which for us, it's like, why are you picking up on it, Warren? But for any newer planner listening to the show, it's having an agenda for the meeting and asking the client what it is they want to make sure they cover. That doesn't mean you then control the meeting just by their topics, but it's very important you address what's important to them, make sure that sticks, otherwise they'll be thinking about it. And having agenda shows some sort of structure, and you're not just going to sit and chat meaninglessly about coffee and pets for 2 hours.
Prior to any annual review or biennial review that we do with clients, we will send them the view document. It's our equivalent cash flow document. It's the view is an acronym for values, income, expenditure, wealth, and it's an Excel that we've been developing. Now we send them a link and say complete it on our site with it's all protected, and people tend to know their income, their expenditure, their wealth, their assets. We can help them with those bits to complete them, but the values aspect to it, this is exactly what you've said. It will form part of the agenda. What do you want to focus on? And instead of just saying, we used to give them tick boxes to say, oh, it's tax planning or pensions or retirement planning or wills or what LPAs. Instead of just doing all the ticks and everyone ticks everything, we've deliberately left the boxes blank. So we've got these sections in the view document where the client can put down what they want to focus on. Could be gifts to kids, or it could be moving house, or whatever it is, and then we'll put that onto the core agenda in PowerPoint in the meeting.
Nice, I like it.
So do you not do that? You must do something similar. If you don't, there's no point in getting into a meeting and then say, what do you want to discuss? We ask them before the meeting, what do you want to focus on in the meeting, so that I can prepare for the meeting so that I'm ready.
No, we do. We send out what we call our client profile, and it asks them what's important about money and what's their outcome for not the meeting necessarily, but the next sort of 12, 36 months. The way it kind of differs is, and I'm not sure this is right doing this, but we want to make sure the experience working with us is as good as possible. We tell them what their values were last year and say, look, this is what you said last year. Are they the same? Values can change, and they do change, but often they remain the same. But we also want to make sure it's a nice, pleasant experience. And I genuinely believe the financial planning community get caught up on living your best life and values and goals of that a lot more than your clients do. So we kind of make it a little bit easier for them. We put it down. We put down their goals. The nice thing about putting their goals, saying, oh, last year you said you'll do this, this, and this, is we can kind of hold them a bit account to when they don't achieve it. So my own financial planning meeting, I did it earlier in the year, but I did another catch-up meeting a few weeks ago. We put down to see, is it the Rat Trap show? Nikki, want to go see it? We haven't been to see it. So it's like, hey, do you know what? We said we were going to see this. You want to go and do more shows in London? We haven't seen it. Okay, yeah, great. So it reminded us to book it in. So it's like, full accountability. It's down there in writing. We won't go off on the sideline of this, but I think that's essential if you are delivering a financial planning service, that you do financial planning for yourself. Whether you get another financial planner and do it, or do it on yourself, you have your own plan and do it, because otherwise it's not fair.
So it does depend on what age the clients are, where in their life journey they are. Because someone in their late 30s, early 40s that is focusing on kids, having the right protection and wills and LPAs in place, and paying down debt, paying regular premiums in, and building their pots, their focus might not be the same as someone who's just about to transition from work to not working. Someone who's late 50s, early 60s, who says, I've had enough of work now, I want to do something else. So obviously the discussions are very different. But I think with all of them, there is a discussion, there is a topic that you can discuss with them, and that is the very foundation of where money is, what their origins are, how they were with money growing up, what it means to them. And it's not just their objectives and their values and stuff like that. It's not. I don't want to be wishy-washy. I want to be specific and ask them questions that I think are going to trigger a discussion and enable me to give the very best advice that I can. The three sections to this money map presentation. The first is foundations, and it basically says in there, mapping what matters, understanding your relationship with money, values, history, and what makes you tick. And then we ask these 5 core questions, and don't necessarily wait for the client to answer them all, because if the client wanted to do that, we'd be there all day. If they wanted to get into it. What I'm trying to do is to get them to think about it. They might answer some of them, and I give them that opportunity. And I say to them, is it okay if I send you the sort of questionnaire after this for you to complete? And they go, yes. And I go, okay, so we put 8 questions to that. And the difference with it is that I will ask the question, like the first question, what does money mean to you? That's in foundations. You then, it says there's a blank section for my own thoughts. And if the client's got no thoughts on it whatsoever, they can go to the end of the questionnaire where it gives them 5 potential options. I didn't want to include them all in the questionnaire and just as tick boxes. You want to get people thinking.
So, we sort of chat on off air about this. What's really important to me is when you ask a client a question that you do something with that answer.
Yeah.
Okay. It's so many financial advisors, financial planners are going, in my opinion, too far one way of becoming life coaches. And I don't believe you are here, but some of them are becoming real like tree huggers and life coaches and stuff. And that's okay if that's what you want to do, but don't call yourself a financial planner, call yourself a life coach. We ask this question. So I'm not belittling this, but we ask, what's important about money? What's important about money to you? Okay.
Yeah.
But when they answer it, we record it and we note it. So often people will say security, opportunity. They're the main two. We do get variations on a theme, but security, being able to continue our current lifestyles with that. So when they go and offer and suggest they're going to do something stupid, I'm going to go and invest in this property in the Philippines or something or whatever it might, we bring it back to them and say, hey, just want to make sure, is money still security to you? Being secure, that. So just want to, how does that fit with this? Just explain that to me. And we get them to play it back to us. Yeah. So if you're listening to this podcast, I think these are great questions, but don't ask them without any reason. When the client does answer them, if they don't, note it, and then bring it back to the client when they're going to do something silly, or takes them away from security. Or if they're playing it super cautious, say, look, actually, I want to be just in fixed interest. I'm worried about the markets. But you did say money was opportunity to you. And, right now so it's actually having some kind of meaning behind it. I think that's really important.
If you've, as I have, worked with certain clients for 10, 15, some of them 25 years, the am I on track question has been answered. We know that the clients, a lot of them are on track or have already hit their goals. And I'm, like you, encouraging a lot of them to spend their money and to enjoy their money. The ones that, when we do annual reviews for clients, and I know you like to call them planning meetings, and I think that we combine both in there. If it's a 1 year since we've last met, do a formal sit-down full review. I will have chatted and emailed throughout the year and had WhatsApp and Teams chats and stuff. But we still want to know what's the difference between then and now. And then also, are we still on track? And if they've already hit the number that they need to provide the income, we then need to do the projections to show what it would look like over the next 30 or 40 years to age 100 to make sure that they're doing all the things. They're not going to run out of money. As part of my discussion with clients, I wouldn't call myself a life planner, but I have had a lot of conversations with many, many clients, probably thousands of meetings over the last 25 years. And I just think it's a bit boring talking about tax planning, maximizing ISAs, utilizing all allowances. That's all a bit dry, and it's important. But I do want to focus on, do they want to spend this money, gift this money, utilize trusts, set up, change the beneficiaries on their pension to their grandchildren or children? What do they want to do? And my job is to come up with ideas. And I also want them to live their best life.
Yeah.
Now, call me a tree hugger, call me a life planner. That's fine. And I know you meant that in a nice way, Warren. But I absolutely want the clients to live their best lives. And that means getting them to think differently.
Yeah.
Because very few clients that I meet have got it all sorted. They don't need input from me in terms of ideas for how they live their life. They know what they're doing. They're happy to do it. And that's great. And I just want to give them reassurance in that case and make sure I'm providing a service. But I don't need to inspire them.
No. And I agree with that. And I think the thing is around, if you're listening to this as a budding financial planner, when you ask a question, do something with the answer. Don't ask the client, what does money mean to you, and then do nothing about it, or what was money like growing up, and then do nothing about it. It's just like we don't want to go into psychology and go into the history of the client. We just want to make sure the client is living their best life.
You're absolutely right, and that forms. it's considerably better to take the answers that a client can complete, whether it's before the meeting in the view document and present something that's meaningful and relevant to what they've said, or with this sort of a questionnaire, if the client completes it, and we've got other questionnaires that we use, like, for example, we've also got a document called the Tandem Compass, and it shows the 8 different sections of financial planning, as I regard them, right? Everything from retirement planning to wills and estate planning and so forth. And then it's got a RAG system. So it's got red, amber, green. Am I on track? Does it need a bit of work? Is it all under control? And I have the clients complete that and send it back to me. You're absolutely right. With that information, you've got to do something with it and say, no, I didn't realize that was important to you. Or we've identified that estate planning is really important and you've not quite got your will up to date and you've not got LPAs. Let's focus on that. Let's get that right. So this money map document, I'm just going to read out the first 5 questions and then you can comment on what you think of them. So we've just answered the first one. What does money mean to you? The second question is, growing up, what messages did you receive about money and how have those shaped the way you think about it today?
I think that's a great question. I do. I think it's an interesting question. It's just I don't know how
what to do with that.
Yeah. Does that make sense? If it's a glass of wine question, you're having a conversation and you can sort of say that money doesn't grow on trees and money was tight and this, that, and the other. So how are you adapting to your newfound wealth? Do you feel worthy of the level of wealth that you've got now? Bearing in mind you didn't come from wealth. Or do you feel a burden to look after the inheritance that you carried? What's your hopes and ambitions with this money going forward?
It's meant to trigger the client's imagination, to get them to think about what they're doing. And with that, because rarely do they take the time during normal life to sort of stop and pause and think about certain things. When they come into my office, it's a chance, to do that and to talk to me impartially in a non-judgmental way, for me to ask them questions to say, well, okay, I understand where you are. We understand the numbers and figures. What are we going to do with this information? What have you always enjoyed? And so you'll see with the direction how this plays out. The last 3 questions in the foundation section that I show them are, what would you describe yourself as more of, a natural spender or a natural saver? And how do you feel about that? If you had all the money you needed, how would you live your life differently? Now,
I like that.
Interestingly, there's a lot of clients that do have enough money, but they don't realize it for the way they want to live their lives. And others that just focus on more for the sake of it, as a card, as a power play to their friends, just to make sure they're one better, they're one up.
Let me jump in on question 3 about you to try yourself as a natural spender or natural saver. I think that's really powerful in a relationship when you ask each party. And if they're different, you ask the question, does that cause conflict?
You should ask that. And it can be uncomfortable, but it's super important, because I've had clients like you'll have had as well, having maritals in the meeting when one is spending too much. And I've got to point it out and saying, if someone's got more money than they ever could spend and they're spending loads of money, there's 2 parts to that. There's, okay, it doesn't really matter, you're not depleting the pot, but why are you buying all this stuff? Is it because it brings you joy? Is it because you can't think of anything better, because you've got a shopping addiction to Amazon? I mean, what is it? Why are you buying all this stuff?
So in my relationship, I'd say my wife is a natural spender, I'm a natural saver. Okay.
Is that the
yeah,
other way around for me and Alison?
Is it?
I'm totally a spender. I buy loads of stuff I don't need.
We have a list of things to spend on the house, and investments done well. The market's doing really well. So I sort of said to her, if you had a little extra amount of money, what would you buy? What would you do in the house? This and the other. And then as the day went on, the list got longer and longer and longer. And I said, it's so true. I said, my friends say you give your wife a bit of money and they can spend even 10 times that amount. So it's
she's not listening to this.
Oh, she won't listen to it.
Isn't it odd that it's the other way around for Alison? I am the financial planner and yet I'm the natural spender.
Yeah.
And she loves saving. Loves save all day long.
And I'll sit next to her at dinner then, and you can.
I think it's not. It sounds like it's a derogatory comment. The reality is that Alison's probably a lot more mature than I am, and realizes that buying extra stuff, in inverted commas, is not going to necessarily make her happier or solve other problems. And the way I look at it is if I'm already saving into ISAs and pensions and and paying down debt and stuff like that, if you're already doing those things and you've got surplus and you want to have fun with it, I find it as a tool to, okay, my boys, we want to play a bit of table tennis. I'll just get some table tennis bats or a more expensive thing is that they're talking about a PS5 now. We don't need one at all, but it'd be pretty cool. And if we did get one, I like tech. So I'd buy those, what are those, Meta Oculus Quest?
Yeah,
got one of those. Didn't need it at all. It's really fun,
fun,
especially when you see your boys playing it and they're punching and there's aliens running after them and they're following. It's brilliant fun. So I'd rather use money to have the fun rather than just buy stuff that I don't need. I want to use it.
Spending isn't a bad thing as long as it's within your means and it brings you happiness. So
The last question in the foundation section is, what does enough look like to you personally? And it's a Morgan Housel question. The point being there with the client is they need to consider what enough looks like to them. It's sometimes a number, but rarely it is. It's usually a sort of lifestyle. It's a clarity answer. It's a decision that the client has to make. It's a point in their life when they're going, this is enough for me, for the life I want to live. I don't need more stuff or money. You want to get them thinking about this, because unless you can establish what the number or what that lifestyle looks like, how are you going to fund it? A lot of the other stuff, the money and the financial planning, revolves around the answers to these questions for me.
That's an interesting question. What does enough look like when you start talking about things other than a number? Because I also think people don't know the joys of more until they've experienced it. So, for example, you might be very happy going on holiday, flying economy, staying in an average hotel, and then you fly business and you're staying in a nice hotel and you think, oh, that's nice. I like the fact that they do this, that, and the other hotel. And then your enough number increases.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, put it this way. A client told me the other day that they were sitting in there, we were abroad in Italy in a property that they had. And it was sunny, it was lovely weather. And she was just listening to a cuckoo outside. She probably had a glass of wine in her hand or something. But she just said, yeah, that moment of just listening to the birds and just relaxing, that was enough. Now, she was in a very nice chalet or property, but you could do the same thing in the UK in your garden. You know, if you want to listen to the birds sing and you want to listen to classic FM, and that's enough for you, do that. You know, it's not for me to try and get clients to do something they don't want to do, but at the same time, I'd rather get it out of them. I'd rather push the envelope a bit. And if there's things they've been putting off, there's a great question here that I ask at the end of my other podcast, which is coming out at the end of this month. The question is this, which I've really is are you living your life? Lish, you've ruined that now.
Sorry, right? I wanted to say something funny.
This is the question. Are you living your life or are you planning to?
That is good. I like that.
Thanks, Warren.
I do
want to just sit with that.
Yeah, I do.
Loads of our clients, they're planning to live it. And when they get to a certain point, certain age, certain amount, certain house, a certain job, they'll then start living. And as you talk about, it's a journey, not a destination, Enjoy it now. Okay, so we've established the orientation, we call it foundations of money for the client. We've then got direction, choosing the path ahead. And my little extra bit on this slide it says exploring how you want to live and what you want your money to make possible. So the first question is a Dan Sullivan question, which is very powerful. And you know who this chap is. If we were sitting here in 3 years' time, what would need to have happened for you to feel happy with your progress? It's a good question, don't you think? I didn't come up with that question. It's a Dan Sullivan question.
No, it's a great question. We ask it in our discovery meeting, and we just have the tag on for people who are working, both professionally and personally.
Yeah, he adds that one on.
Yeah,
that bit
but if they're retired, we don't. If they're retired, we don't. We just ask that. I'm just giving the fuller picture of other people haven't heard the Dan Sullivan sort of question.
Yeah.
And let me jump in. We actually say 3 years now, and I say the date. So the 12th of May, 2029. So how old would you be then? And I get them to give them the age. How will your kids be? We try and make it really real. So they say, okay, well, actually, Johnny will be 21 or, Mary will be 18 and I'll be 56 or whatever.
The ideal client, if there is such a thing, I mean, besides nice people with loads of money that want you to just manage their finances, that's the ultimate. But the point is, I've got clients that they've started off younger. Maybe they've been the sibling of a client or the daughter or child of a client. A lot of the discussions initially are just getting them on board, getting them on Transact, getting them set up, ISA pension, bit of protection. As they grow older, and I've now been working with some in 15, 20 years, they've now got a bigger pot. The point I'm making is that the discovery questions weren't done originally.
No.
It wasn't the main focus at the time when I took them on. So later on in the relationship with the client, these questions are still relevant. You can't ask them once. Sometimes you do a great presentation, you think you're doing a great meeting with the client, they leave happy. They've probably listened to about 10% of what you've said or remembered 10%.
Yeah.
So next year, when you might bring out the same presentation to ask similar questions, do it again if they've not remembered, or bring in some new ones to get them thinking about it. It's the 1 or 2 times a year that you can actually, get the clients to seriously think about things. So question 2 in direction is, what does a great life look like for you?
Yeah.
And you get them to write it down or think about it.
Yes. When people sort of approach retirement or about to go into retirement, we do sort of say to them, just explain to me your ideal day. What would a perfect day look like to you? And like a perfect week, what does it do? And exaggerate that. It's the same sort of thing, isn't it? What's a great life look like? So you're sort of explaining.
Definitely. You want them. Obviously, you need it to come from them as to sort of say that and make notes of it. And then you've got to push it back and reiterate that to them in due course. Question 3 was, when would you like to make work optional, and what would you do with that freedom? So you're a big fan of an advocate of carry on working, making it optional. We don't use the word retire. But if some clients have just had enough, or they want to go part time or whatever, if they've got more time, what are you going to do with that time? Write it down, make a note, get excited about it. And then the last 2 here are, what are the experiences you don't want to miss? Doesn't just mean travel or go to the theatre. It could be the birth of your grandchild. I mean, it could be the wedding of your daughter. It could be anything. And then the tearjerker question, the George Kinder question, if you knew you had just 5 to 10 years left to live, what would you change about how you're living now? Have you thought about that yourself, Warren?
Yeah. I put this question in my book, The Money Plan. The only thing I would do with this question is I would say if you just had 5 years left to live, I wouldn't say 5 to 10 personally, because I think 10's quite long, isn't it? But 5 years is like, it's gone in a heartbeat. If you had 5 years left to live, what would you change about how you're living now? Yeah.
Well, I've had I don't know why it's just at the moment, but lots of friends and clients have told me bad news about their health, and some of them have got lumps and bumps, and some of them are cancerous, and it's just thinking, wow, 1 minute everything's fine, next minute it's not. You do have to make these changes and really get it be in the moment and sort of focus on it. Live intentionally. I think that's it. Don't want it to be too much of a tearjerker, but you do have to think about how you're living your life.
You do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the last part is legacy. Part 3 is legacy. So it's leaving your mark, considering what you want to leave behind for family, for causes, for the future. So again, there's 5 questions, but I remember in the questionnaire that we give the clients, we actually have 8 questions because we've got some extras. So the first one is, what do you want your money to do beyond your own lifetime?
That's quite a hard one for me because I don't know if I have a concept behind it.
Well, you can interpret the question however you want. I was looking at a client's portfolio today. He's 80 and his wife's 77, and I know, and most of the asset was pension. And I was just thinking, I know that the pension beneficiary is his wife, but he's not spending this money. He's 80, and I'm writing to him tomorrow to sort of summarising the position and saying, look, you do realise that you can. I know you want to protect your wife if you pass away, and she can inherit that money post 75, albeit there's tax implications and stuff when she draws it out. But we can change it to 60% your wife, and then considering you've got 4 grandchildren, we could do 10% each and just bypass children and go straight to grandchildren. So if you want to assist, with monies going to other relatives with assets that you've got, you want to help a cause, a charity, friends, family, a community, the cricket club. I mean, whatever it is, if you do have to think about these things during your lifetime.
Yeah, or dare I say, turn on the income now and start giving them to your grandkids now. I don't know how the grandkids are, but
no, absolutely right. It's one or the other, isn't it? Yeah. And so it's a balancing act. You can't spend it all now and then still have money to live on. Question 2 was, what does a meaningful legacy look like to you? Now, these won't appeal to every client. Some people don't think about them. It depends on their position, their age, what's going on in their life, their health, lots of things. But some people are keen to leave a legacy. Others are not. I've had clients like you will have had that say, I've got to pay inheritance tax. I'll just pay it. And I want it all to go to my kids. And that's all they can think of. And you can think that's fine. That's their decision. But others have got particularly massive estates. They might want a legacy to mean something other than money.
Yeah, it's interesting. From a personal perspective, I don't think I'm that bothered about leaving anything when I've gone to the next generation kind of thing.
Well, you're going to have it all buried with you like the Egyptians.
No. I'll be very happily support them during my life and make sure they're okay and that sort of thing. But I don't have any, I don't want to be known for being that rich guy left them loads of money. There's no sort of ego or anything in it for me like that.
You could also conflate that question with how do you want to be remembered? Because the actions that we take now in our life will determine how people remember us. And most people in the world, after they've died, in 10 years, 20 years, 50 years time, they'll be forgotten completely. Certainly 100 years. In 100 years, we don't forget people like Einstein and certain political leaders or certain heroes. We don't forget certain people that have left a mark on the world. So if that's your thing, if you want to leave that as a legacy, maybe as you write a book, maybe as you come up with the next formula. I mean, do whatever you want. How would you want to be remembered? The idea is to get the client thinking. Last three questions in this section. What financial values or lessons do you most want to pass on? Might trigger a discussion with your client. What conversations about money and the future still need to be had within your family?
That's an important one. I think a lot of families don't discuss money enough, and I certainly don't think they discuss money with the next generation enough. We try and encourage that, bring them all around the table in one go, have a family meeting.
Definitely. And, time's running out. And then last one, it's the George Kinder tearjerker. If you had just 24 hours to left, what would you regret not having done, said, or been? Yeah,
I like that. I think it's if you had 24 hours left, it's almost like, what did
Straight down the casino. I don't know what you do.
All on black.
What do you do? That's horrible, isn't it? 24 hours left. It's like an episode of House, and you're thinking, right, I've got all this time left. What do I do? Meaningful conversation, quick. Get some 80s movies on the telly. Get some kettle jips. Give me some wine. I need some rosé wine, quick.
Rosé wine.
Yeah, with some Doritos. Yeah, and a log bird in fire, and my dog over there. Maybe my wife next to me and the kids on the sofa. Guys, we're watching Back to the Future. That is it. And then Die Hard 1 and 2, and then Lord of the Rings, and then Star Wars. Once we've watched all of them, I'll happily go.
Brilliant. I like that, Paul. That was good. I think that was really helpful array of questions for both the experienced planners and the new financial planners to really sort of ponder. And I think if they took a selection of those, don't think they got to ask every question every meeting. You'll switch your clients off. But I think if they took a section of those and incorporate them in their meetings, they would certainly get more meaningful fulfillment of their meetings with their clients.
Hope so. So I'm going to put that little presentation in the show notes if people want to have a look at it, and hopefully it's useful. So Warren, have we got any Q&As this episode?
Yes, I'm sure we have. I'm sure you've got loads. Right.
I've always got a few.
Live simply, act kindly, and be present. Your best life unfolds in the moment you stop chasing and start awakening.
Being present, that's important.
Yeah,
so, absolutely.
And I think it's harder than we say it, be present, but I think fleet in and out of being present. Does that make sense? We're not generally present for the waking hours of our day. We go in being present, we're focused, and then quite often our brain, certainly when you're talking to me, my brain just drifts off and goes off into.
Oh, thank you. I'm not sure how to take that, to be honest. I think I'll take it as an insult.
No, it's definitely a compliment.
Maybe you should listen when I talk. That would be good.
I'll learn more.
Okay. I've got a couple here. So George Kinder, guru in the financial planning industry, said, nobody on their deathbed wishes they'd spent more time in the office. The only person who'll miss you when you spend loads of time in the office, if you are working in London, working out anywhere in the country till late, is your kids and your family. You're doing it for their benefit, but that balance all the time is super important. I know not everyone's got the choice, and some have to work long hours and work late, but it's ultimately it's an opportunity cost.
You're absolutely right. It is, but it's also something that some people really enjoy. Some people enjoy building a business and growing it and such like. And I think you're right. It's the opportunity cost. It's just off weighing, say, we have a period of time right now at this period where your children are this age. Is it the right time to be doing this?
Don't miss the moment.
Yeah.
Don't miss it. Do you know who Naval Ravikant is?
would I be embarrassing myself? I said no. Sorry.
I'm going to put a link to his Wikipedia page. He's a sort of
I'd
author,
rather you tell me because I won't read
an
it.
investor, and very critical thinker. Anyway,
really famous guy, actually, isn't he?
Well, Chris Williamson refers to him on the Modern Wisdom podcast quite a lot, and he might not be the most famous person, but he's got a book called The Almanac, and it's got loads of clever stuff in. Anyway, money is not the goal; freedom is the goal. I just today, Warren, was thinking as I was listening to another podcast about retirement. Because I'm down with the kids. I like listening to that on my dog walk. But I had a little moment where I was thinking, am I living my best life? I talk to my clients about doing it. Are there things that I'm not doing? I like going out on my motorbike. I like going climbing, indoor climbing. I am going to go walking again next week because I'm going up to see my mum and dad. So the focus is to see them and help them. But I do want to, in the morning, get out 6:30, get up the hills and go walking. And that's that point of being in the moment. And it gives me that sense of freedom at the time and makes me feel like I'm in the present. Mindfulness. Being a tree hugger, like you called me earlier.
Every morning, 20-minute walk, no podcast, nothing.
20-minute walk? I did an hour's walk with my dog this morning. Get a dog.
Your dog needs it. He's energy. Your dog.
He does. He does. We do. You're probably doing 6,000 steps. Do 10 to 12. My average is 14,000 steps in the last month. Boom.
Wow. God.
Yeah, even though I work at home, we go out for dog walks and run around. Right, let's wrap up. You got one more? Are we good?
No, I'm good. I'm good with that. I think we've shared a lot of quotes, a lot of information today. Lots of very good actual takeaways from today's show for the.
I've got one. I've got one more from Morgan Housel.
Of course you do.
The Psychology of Money, brilliant.
Of course you do.
Controlling your time is the highest dividend money pays.
Mm. Yeah. Talking of which,
think about it.
Talking of which, controlling your time is a great quote. And like I said, but all the other quotes is what you do with the information rather than just listening to it. So on that note, taking control of our time is the biggest dividend. We'll call that a wrap for today. Thanks for joining us on the Finance Geeks podcast. Paul.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Finance Geeks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. Drop your comments and questions on YouTube, and be sure to follow us on social media. Join us next time for more insights to boost your financial planning game.